everyone, welcome to this update video this morning. I trust and hope you're doing really great, and we're going to be talking about Hurricane Oscar. So Oscar is a hurricane within the vicinity of the Bahamas and Turks and Caicos Islands, and it is going to be making its way into the vicinity of Cuba as we head throughout today, and it's likely to bring dangerous conditions. So we're going to be taking a look at it as well as what is going on for the Caribbean on a whole. So at a closer view here, we can see a lot of convection associated with the system. And it is also quite compact. It's not very large and disorganized. And thankfully, Oscar has not strengthened much. Matter of fact, it has weakened a bit. So the maximum sustained winds are up to 80 miles per hour. So going on to the National Hurricane Center's cone forecast for the system, here we can see that being reflected. So as of the latest update, maximum winds up to 80 miles per hour, and it is making its way to the west at 12 miles per hour. Now, it should remain a hurricane through much of today, and we see all of these red highlights indicating a hurricane warning that is in effect. So for parts of eastern Cuba as well as the southeast Bahamas, there is a hurricane warning. So those hurricane conditions are going to be continuing throughout today. Those strong winds, the storm surge as well, the winds of the system pushing the water on shore, inundating coastal areas, and also the plethora of heavy rain. And we see here that Oscar is expected to make that curve up and out, and it should be weakening at that time because it's going to be moving into a very hostile environment in terms of those upper level winds. So we'll be looking at that momentarily. But going on to the rainfall forecast expected today for the Caribbean, here we can see what Euro is showing, and towards Central America we can see these very colorful shadings, these shadings of pinks, probably up to 4 inches of rain at maximum within some areas, especially for much of Mexico. And then for the vicinity of Belize, going to Guatemala, there could be rainfall amounts, maybe just under an inch, going over an inch, or maybe up to 2 inches in some areas. And further south, Honduras, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama, maybe up to an inch of rainfall activity. Things will remain on the active side for parts of Colombia, but then as we head to the eastern Caribbean islands, as well as parts of the northern Guyana, so parts of northern Guyana, Suriname, French Guiana, there could be some scattered showers and thunderstorms around, especially headed to later today. ABC Islands, there could be some activity within the area. We'll see how that goes. And also for the Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico, and much of Hispaniola. So as it pertains to Hispaniola, Oscar is going to remain offshore. It's not expected to bring impacts, and especially because of the fact that it's such a compact system, it's not large and disorganized to be influencing the weather across a very wide area. But Cuba is going to definitely be experiencing those hurricane impacts, and we can see those more vibrant shadings as well for some areas. So probably 4+ inches of rainfall expected throughout today for parts of eastern Cuba, for the southeast Bahamas and Turks and Caicos, maybe 2.5 going up to 3 inches of rainfall activity throughout the day. So it is going to be quite active with Oscar in the area. Jamaica, scattered showers and thunderstorms around. Similar thing for the Cayman Islands, as well as the northern Bahamas and central and western Cuba, where much is not really expected. And as it pertains to the key messages for Hurricane Oscar from the National Hurricane Center, so let's go through those. Number 1, hurricane warning remains in effect for the southeastern Bahamas and for a portion of the northeastern coast of Cuba. 2, Oscar is expected to produce a dangerous storm surge on portions of the southeast Bahamas this morning, especially Great Inagua Island and along the north shore of Cuba later this afternoon and evening. And 3, heavy rainfall from Oscar will lead to areas of flash flooding along with possible mudslides across portions of eastern Cuba, especially within the Sierra Maestra through Tuesday. So it is going to be resulting in those very dangerous impacts, the heavy rainfall, and even in terms of the winds, that's likely to result in a plethora of power outages across parts of eastern Cuba that will be impacted by Oscar. And models are pretty much in some decent agreement as it relates to the track of Oscar. So it is going to be making that dip, that track to the west-southwest, and then curving up and moving out to the northeast. And as I said, it is going to be accelerating into some unfavorable conditions around that time. So let's go ahead and take a look at that on the graphics. So here we have the wind shear map. Now, it may be very confusing, but we have the white outline of the different land areas, and we've got all these colorful lines around. So the red lines indicate unfavorable upper level winds. That's where the wind shear is strong, and it really helps to prevent systems, tropical cyclones, from getting themselves together. The yellow indicates neutral. The shear is not the worst nor the best. Favorable, those are the green lines that indicate where conditions are most ideal for tropical development to take place, where wind shear is not going to be much of a problem. So Oscar is going to be making a curve, and we can see a lot of those red lines just to the north of the hurricane. So again, it is going to be moving straight into an unfavorable environment, and the wind shear is going to take its toll on the system once it starts to make its way up to the north and northeast. So that is going to allow it to quickly weaken and eventually dissipate as well, and we're going to start to see it eventually having that classic lopsided look for when the wind shear really starts taking its toll. And not only the shear, but there is also some dry air ahead of the system for when it will be moving up to the north. So this is a look at the dry air map, and we've got quite a bit out there in the main development region, but also to the north of Oscar, we can see these very vibrant shadings, these yellows, oranges, and even the red shadings as well. So the dry air coupled with the wind shear, those are definitely going to be taking their toll on the system, and yeah, they're definitely going to prevent it from being able to strengthen any further. So they will be inducing weakening of it. So that is what is expected for Oscar, but regardless, it's going to be bringing those dangerous conditions, the flood threat, the storm surge, to parts of the southeast Bahamas as well as eastern Cuba. So guys, please take the necessary precautions and stay safe as best as you can through today, and do not take any unnecessary risks. Now, aside from Oscar, there isn't anything else to watch for development in the tropics right now. However, models have been hinting at the Caribbean for seeing development, which is not something that is strange to see. I mean, it's a time of year where we start to look more into the Caribbean for these systems trying to develop. And even looking at this graphic, it is reflected here as well. So we typically have these systems developing in the Caribbean and shooting off to the northeast. So we'll definitely have to be keeping our eyes on the region, guys, especially with the late season tropical waves. So we'll see how that goes, but there are definitely some hints of potentially seeing something late this month going into November. And of course, guys, that's why I'm here to keep you updated on all that is happening across the tropics, and I will continue to do just that as time goes by. So that is it for this update video, and I hope you found it to be informative. However, if you do have any questions, feel free to leave them down in the comments. I will respond to you when I have the chance to do so, and remember to always be weatherwise.